Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of AJ Podcast or Archit Jain Podcast. So today we have a guest from Razorpay India. So before deep dive into introducing the guest and go ahead, so I would like to tell about the one story about the topic of today. So why this topic is so much important. So as we all see the Netflix, so Netflix is maintaining their monopoly as well as we all pay a monthly basis subscription fee instead of annual subscription fee. So how Netflix rule the market? The only thing is due to the customer retention plays a pivot role in doing this. So let's deep dive. Hi Akhil. So Akhil, could you tell something about yourself so our audience also aware about you?
Sure, Archit. Thanks for inviting me to your
Yeah,
podcast. And I really
yeah,
love talking to folks enthusiastic about product management and customer retention on a day in, day out
yes,
basis. Uh, yeah, of course, I think you would have seen across my career already, it's been close to 14 plus years, 14 and a half years for me in product space, product and technology. Started out as an engineer
yeah,
and then after
okay,
my MBA from IIM Calcutta, I actually moved into product management space with a couple of startups and startups such as Wink Music, iViewer Pro. You might have used some of
okay,
those apps yourself, and then graduated to international companies, MNCs such as Adobe, Expedia,
yes,
leading mostly customer
yes,
retention, engagement, and conversion portfolio for them. Uh, from Expedia, moved on to Ola as the head of mobility product for them, and then recently joined Razorpay, and have been leading their acquisition growth and experience initiatives since then as
mm,
the director of product in this team.
okay, great, Akhil. So, Akhil, so before going to another, if I ask something else, so what is customer retention according to you, from your perspective, your experience?
Sure. So if you see any business for that matter, customer retention is the key.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
whether it is digital businesses or even the mom and pop shops that you used to have
mm,
earlier,
mm,
say any business would include setup
yeah,
costs, and you would
yeah,
require people to really think about um, say core areas in terms of how do you recoup that setup costs, because a lot of the people would come in for the first time. Maybe at that point you might be say unit economics positive but still net negative on your overall user base. So while customer acquisition is important, it really becomes important when you scale up your organization, when you actually have a strong customer retention loop working for you. People coming back to your say chai shop, to your website, to your app, often really becomes key for you to actually sustain your business on a longer term basis. That's when with these repeated transactions you actually recoup your investment and get to profitability. So any product or business which is really looking at say becoming profitable and at the same time is really concerned with their users as such. Uh, Customer retention is the key for them to actually look at.
fine, fantastic. So, as we know, as I already gave up a great example of Netflix. Okay, so why is customer retention a crucial aspect of product management in business to consumer organization? For if I'm saying for the B2C organization.
Sure. So building on your previous question itself, I think if you see any digital organization or any business in general, say your
Yes.
customer retention loops actually help you recover your cost of acquisition, which is known by
Yes.
CAC
Yes.
in there. And
Yes.
at the same time, the repeated loyal set of customers
Mm,
who consider your brand to
mm,
be or your
mm,
product to be
mm,
the one-stop shop
mm.
for all their needs,
Yes.
they
Yes.
actually that's how you actually start generating revenues and profitability for your
Yeah.
business. So customer
Yeah.
retention is really key from that aspect. If you see Netflix, you really talk about that example. So all these products are now actually not based on one single transaction that you have.
Yes.
All of these are actually based on subscriptions as a key model for yourself. So when you think about
Yeah.
subscriptions, the customer has to come back on a monthly or an yearly or a quarterly frequency and renew their subscription. If they don't really have good experience, if they don't really have proper channels to
Yeah.
to really renew or proper nudges at various points in time of their customer journey, you would
Yeah.
find that these companies would start to struggle to make their products profitable as such. So customer retention is very very key when it really comes to say customer say profitability, business profitability, business longevity overall. So from that perspective, customer retention is the key for any company that wants to scale up and is actually looking beyond single transaction experiences or relationships with their customers.
So, how does customer retention contribute to long-term success and profitability for particular organization, particular app, particular website?
Sure, sure. Let me actually give you an example of say even Razorpay. I could talk about Adobe, for example, as well,
Mm,
a
mm,
company that I
mm.
work for. So
Yes.
if you see all these products that you used on your day-to-day basis, you actually pay
Mm,
an initial subscription amount to them. Say
yeah.
if you're a loyal
Yeah.
customer and you keep finding value within that product, you need to
Mm,
come back and then renew your subscriptions in there. So when you actually
okay.
start building this, you building these loops, building these habits for the users to
Yeah.
actually get
Yeah.
value. They have
Yeah.
to. So if you read the concept around the hook model, so typically the best companies actually are able to hook your customers in
Yeah.
there. That actually is a combination of people really getting a trigger, a reward, and that leading into an investment from the user. Think about Facebook, for an example. Uh, you actually get notifications about your
Yes.
friend's birthday in there. You start commenting on that. You probably share common pictures with the person.
Mm,
That's why
mm,
you actually get invested into that entire loop, entire life cycle of that product. And at that point, you start looking at, say, coming back to check your comments, check your posts, reply to your or reactions to your posts as such. You've also invested by sharing your own photos with the person, and the data is enriched for Facebook as a platform. That really makes it very, very powerful for any organization to reach you out at the end. Also, get to a position wherein you would actually get to probably pay them money either through ad revenues or see their ads that are there on the platform. So, say publishers would be willing to pay that money, or at some point in time you can actually get to premium services that people could use these platforms for, and it actually get to profitability, part to profit. Similar things happened at Adobe. We actually started with Photoshop subscriptions, started providing them nudges, got them to see various value of the features of the value of the features that you had on the product
mm,
suite. And then at this right moment, when we thought the person was ready, we actually started giving them right nudges when the renewals and subscriptions came in, so that they actually come in and then renew their subscription, probably upgrade at the same time, or probably cross sell. So customer lifetime value is a concept that actually starts coming in when your customers
mm,
start to repeat. Higher
mm,
is your
mm,
customer
mm.
retention frequency, the way they actually come back to your app, and higher the percentage you're able to get uh, from the customers in terms of repeat rate, you would be able to leverage the customer lifetime value to what's becoming profitability. If you try and see this as a formula, uh, your path your path to the profitability or revenue is LTV into the repeat experiences, the repeat percentage of the traffic that you would have from the users. And that's actually the key for any organization to really become a profitable Fortune 100, Fortune 500 kind of a company in the long term.
Okay, great, great, Akhil. So, Akhil, so as you explain about all of the Adobe and Razorpay concepts and how they are using and implementing customer retention. So, what are some of the challenges that product manager face in achieving high customer retention rates in a B2C company specific?
Mhm. Sure. So if you think about customer retention, that's a very, very tricky problem to solve. It's a tough nut to crack, as they say. So think about customer retention. They need to, how and when will a customer retain with a brand? Think about your own experiences. The customers would actually have to find some value constantly, and they should have invested in your app. They should have found your product so good that they actually feel the need to come back often in a B2C product. So when people actually just look at it in isolation, they actually just define and design nudge-based experiences, notification channels, or maybe emails, drip programs. A lot of those things actually do not always work in isolation, and that's where a lot of the product managers start failing. The best customer retention strategies actually start with customer experience in the background. You need to build your product in a way that it actually builds uh, constant value for the customers. They see that the experience is so good. Think about iPhone. Why would people who have already spent a lakh continue to stand in lines again after every 2 years and then get the latest upgrade of that product? It really lies within how they've actually entrenched the user within the ecosystem, the kind of experiences that you've had with an iPhone, uh, the sharpness, the smoothness of the OS, the way the entire ecosystem works smoothly. You've also seen, say, companies such as Apple actually have intelligently built these loops and these connections across their ecosystem. So if you have an iPhone, you would probably compare it with your Mac. You would start using both devices together, and you would start to find, say, multiplied value out of that. You would start using, say, these pods that come in, the earpods from Apple, and you'd start seeing more value coming in because of the experience being augmented across the platform and ecosystem. Think about smartwatch. So this becomes a connected ecosystem eventually, and very few product managers who really understand that the value doesn't really lie in isolated experiences or isolated nudges, but actually the entire experience are able to crack this. So that's how, say, I think people who realize this are able to, say, solve this problem much better than some of the others, while some of the people who are really looking at just solving one part of the problem might actually struggle to really solve this puzzle.
But how can, as you told about the challenges,
Hmm.
so how can be these challenges be addressed effectively to build strong customer relationships?
Sure. So if you think about a lot of these challenges, the key really lies in understanding that each of these experiences that the consumer has with you, each of them has to be connected in that. So when you actually start to harness each part of that journey, you start to understand that there's an ecosystem that needs to be developed, and you understand that the customer retention really starts with really great experience that you provide with the core problem that the user was looking to solve within that product. Then you actually start understanding that there are three major pieces of this puzzle. You start by building and addressing the core need of the customer, why your product exists for them. So why would someone come to a platform such as Zoom and then transact on that? So the answer to that is the core need to connect through a video calling service, probably connect to their audience. If you are able to build a very, very strong experience around that, then you're able to solve first part of that puzzle. Think about the second part. Now start connecting the ecosystem around that product itself. So think about how would my consumers start to entrench themselves within my product ecosystem. So, as iPhone, if I am able to provide them a phone, a cloud storage service, a set of say products to use with my mobile, connect them easily with across devices, um, and at the same time build a very very strong service network, then the user has invested too much into my ecosystem. They've actually habituated themselves with the experience. They have invested too much by actually going ahead and purchasing. But the most important investment for the user is the time that they've actually spent across the ecosystem, various assets that they have stored across that ecosystem. There are personal preferences that the ecosystem starts to understand about it. And then once you've done these two things, then you're able to personalize the entire experience, the entire nudging for that user in there. Consider that you are habituated to listening music at a particular time of the day, and if I know that you are say probably in that mode and that notification comes to you around with that time, would you be more likely to click on that? Of course you would be, and that's where you actually personalize these nudging